The Celtiberian warrior. The Celtiberians were a group of Celtic-speaking tribes inhabiting the central and northern regions of the Iberian Peninsula. Blending indigenous Iberian and migrating Celtic influences, they developed a distinct warrior culture that became known for its resilience, skill, and martial prowess. These fiercely independent tribes lived in fortified hilltop settlements, engaging in near-constant warfare, both among themselves and against foreign invaders, such as the Carthaginians and Romans. Their warlike nature, combined with their superior metalworking and weaponry, made them one of the most formidable fighting forces of ancient Iberia. Celtiberians as warriors. Celtiberian warriors were renowned for their tenacity and aggressive fighting style. They excelled in both direct engagements and guerrilla tactics, making them a highly adaptable force. Their society placed great value on personal bravery, and many young warriors sought to distinguish themselves through acts of valor on the battlefield. Feuding between tribes was common, but they would unite against a common enemy, particularly when facing powerful foreign invaders. A key aspect of their martial tradition was their ability to fight effectively in various terrains. Their knowledge of the rugged Iberian landscape allowed them to outmaneuver and harass enemy forces, striking quickly before retreating into difficult-to-pursue regions. Their cavalry was particularly noted for its mobility, and many Celtiberian horsemen were also adept at fighting on foot when necessary. Arms and armor. The Celtiberians were master swordsmiths, and their blades were highly regarded in the ancient world. Among their most notable contributions to military history was the gladius hispaniensis, a short, double-edged sword that would later be adopted by the Roman legions. This weapon was deadly in close combat, offering both cutting and thrusting capabilities. While the gladius was an influential design, Celtiberians also wielded other types of swords, including long slashing swords and shorter daggers for secondary use. Though the falcata, a curved, heavy-bladed sword, was a popular Iberian weapon, it was less common among the Celtiberians compared to other regional groups. Ranged combat played a crucial role in Celtiberian warfare, allowing their warriors to weaken enemy formations before closing in for melee engagements. One of their most effective ranged weapons was the javelin, a staple of their arsenal. Celtiberian warriors typically carried multiple javelins, enabling them to unleash a volley of projectiles to disrupt enemy ranks before charging into close-quarters combat. This tactic was particularly useful in both open-field battles and ambush-style engagements, where mobility and rapid strikes were essential. Among the various javelins used, the soliferrum stood out as a uniquely Celtiberian innovation. Unlike other javelins, which often had wooden shafts with metal tips, the soliferrum was crafted entirely from iron, giving it exceptional durability and penetrating power. Its weight and balance allowed it to pierce through armor and shields with devastating effect, making it a feared weapon on the battlefield. The soliferrum was especially effective against heavily armored opponents, such as Roman legionaries, as it could compromise their defensive formations before hand-to-hand combat even began. In addition to javelins, spears were a fundamental part of Celtiberian warfare. These versatile weapons were used both as thrusting implements in close combat and as projectiles for ranged attacks. Some warriors likely carried multiple types of spears, each designed for specific combat scenarios: lighter spears for throwing and heavier, reinforced ones for stabbing in melee. This adaptability allowed Celtiberian fighters to transition between different phases of battle with ease, enhancing their effectiveness against a wide range of opponents. To complement their offensive weaponry, Celtiberian warriors carried two primary types of shields, each suited to different combat styles. The caetra was a small, round shield, favored for its lightweight and maneuverability. This shield was particularly useful for skirmishers and warriors who relied on speed, agility, and quick strikes, rather than prolonged engagements. Its compact size allowed fighters to move freely and execute rapid attacks, while still offering a degree of protection. The caetra was commonly associated with guerrilla-style tactics, where Celtiberian warriors could harass enemy forces before retreating into difficult terrain. For warriors engaging in more sustained melee combat, larger oval shields were the preferred choice. These shields offered significantly more coverage, allowing soldiers to protect themselves against incoming projectiles and melee strikes. They were particularly useful in more organized battle formations, where defensive cohesion was necessary. The additional protection made them ideal for warriors who fought in close ranks or faced heavily armed opponents. Both types of shields were not just tools of defense, but also symbols of identity and craftsmanship. Many Celtiberian shields were adorned with tribal symbols, patterns, and intricate designs, reflecting the warrior's allegiance and heritage. Some shields featured reinforced metal rims or central bosses, which not only added durability, but also enhanced their effectiveness in close combat, allowing warriors to bash and strike opponents with the shield itself. The combination of practical functionality and cultural significance made Celtiberian shields an essential part of their martial tradition. In battle, the synergy between ranged weapons and shields allowed Celtiberian warriors to maintain their mobility while remaining well defended. Their ability to strike from a distance and then transition smoothly into melee combat made them a formidable force, capable of adapting to different battlefield conditions with ease. Celtiberian warriors were known for their agility and aggressive combat style, and their approach to armor reflected this preference. Rather than encumbering themselves with heavy defensive gear, most Celtiberians opted for lighter armor that allowed them to move quickly and fight effectively in both open battles and guerrilla-style engagements. However, among high-status warriors and more heavily equipped fighters, armor was still present, offering varying degrees of protection without severely limiting mobility. Celtiberian helmets came in a range of designs, many showing clear influences from Greek and Roman styles, likely due to trade and cultural interactions with Mediterranean civilizations. Helmets were an essential part of a warrior's equipment, as head protection could mean the difference between life and death in combat. Among the most common helmet types were bronze helmets. Often inspired by Greek designs, these provided solid protection while remaining relatively lightweight. Their durability and resistance to damage made them a favored choice for warriors who could afford them. Leather helmets. A more widespread alternative, leather helmets offered basic protection while maintaining a warrior's agility. Though not as strong as bronze, they were easier to produce and provided sufficient defense against glancing blows. Montefortino helmets. Originally used by Celtiberians before being widely adopted by the Romans, these rounded helmets featured cheek guards, offering improved coverage and protection. Their design balanced durability with comfort, allowing warriors to remain mobile while benefiting from additional defense. Helmets were sometimes adorned with crests or plumes, which may have served as indicators of rank, tribal affiliation, or personal distinction within a warband. These decorative elements not only had practical battlefield recognition purposes, but also showcased a warrior's status and skill. While Celtiberians valued speed and maneuverability over heavy protection, some warriors, particularly those of higher rank or greater wealth, did wear body armor. The choice of armor varied depending on the warrior's status, personal preference, and the nature of the battle they were preparing for. Key types of body armor included mail armor. Though not as widespread among the Celtiberians as it was in other Celtic cultures, some elite warriors wore mail coats. Constructed from interlocking iron rings, mail provided excellent protection against slashing attacks while still allowing for some degree of movement. It was likely reserved for the wealthiest or most experienced fighters. Pectorals, chest plates. Metal chest plates were a practical alternative to full-body armor, offering vital protection to the torso while keeping the arms and legs unencumbered. This allowed warriors to retain their speed while shielding their most vulnerable areas. linen cuirasses. Possibly influenced by Greek designs, these reinforced linen armor pieces provided a lightweight yet effective means of protection. They were particularly useful for warriors who sought a balance between defense and agility, as they did not hinder movement as much as metal armor. Their preference for speed and adaptability meant that many warriors relied on their skill, agility, and shields rather than excessive armor. This made them unpredictable and highly effective opponents, capable of striking fast and fading into the rugged Iberian landscape before their enemies could mount a counterattack. Service history. Early conflicts and Carthaginian service. Before engaging with the major Mediterranean powers, the Celtiberians were locked in near constant warfare among themselves and with neighboring Iberian tribes. These conflicts helped hone their combat skills and led to the development of strong warrior traditions. Rivalries among the different Celtiberian tribes often made unity difficult, but when faced with a significant external threat, they were capable of forming powerful alliances. During the 3rd century BC, the Carthaginians sought to expand their influence in Iberia, bringing them into direct contact with the Celtiberians. Recognizing their combat prowess, the Carthaginians employed Celtiberian mercenaries in various military campaigns. Many of these warriors fought under Hannibal during his legendary campaign against Rome in the Second Punic War. Their contribution to his army, particularly in battles such as Cannae, 216 BC, showcased their effectiveness in both cavalry and infantry roles. War against Rome and integration. The Celtiberians soon found themselves in direct conflict with Rome as the Republic sought to expand its influence over the Iberian Peninsula. The Celtiberian Wars, 181 to 133 BC, marked a period of intense struggle between the independent Celtiberian tribes and the expanding Roman state. One of the most famous episodes of these wars was the Siege of Numantia, 133 BC, where a small but determined force of Celtiberians resisted a prolonged Roman siege for years. Despite being vastly outnumbered and suffering from starvation, the Numantines refused to surrender. When it became clear that defeat was inevitable, many warriors chose to die by their own hands, rather than submit to Roman rule. Their defiance cemented the Celtiberians' reputation as one of Rome's toughest adversaries. Despite their initial resistance, many Celtiberians later became valued auxiliaries in the Roman military. Their skills as light infantry, cavalry, and skirmishers made them indispensable in Rome's campaigns across Europe. As Roman rule solidified in Hispania, Celtiberian warriors were increasingly integrated into the legions, serving in distant theatres of war from Britain to the eastern frontiers of the empire. Conclusion. The Celtiberian warrior was a product of a harsh and warlike culture that valued strength, independence, and battlefield prowess. Their weapons and armor were among the finest in the ancient world, influencing the very tools of warfare adopted by their enemies. Though they ultimately fell to Rome, their legacy lived on in the soldiers who fought for the empire and in the stories of their legendary resistance. From mercenary service under Hannibal to the doomed but heroic stand at Numantia, the Celtiberians left an indelible mark on military history,